Hello, Wendy Lou with Parenting Through Ascension YouTube channel. If you are watching me through other avenues, I encourage you to go and subscribe. Check out my channel, watch my videos if they resonate with you at all. Subscribe, like, share. That would be great. That would make me feel really good. So I wanted to talk about my journey. Okay, hold on here. A little bit of a bumpy ride. There we go. As the title says, my journey to my higher self. And I actually did this same video the other day outside during my walk, which I do a lot of my videos on my walks. And then when I listened back, the wind had just made the whole thing grab. So here we are again. So I took some notes, and because I wanted to recreate that as best I could, because I tend to just have these moments of clarity while I'm walking, and it was a beautiful talk, really. It just was, all you can hear is wind when I listened back to it. So my higher self journey. I would say probably 2 years ago is when I first was introduced to the concept of a higher self. I had no idea what it was. I'd never heard the term before. I was really just I woke up almost 6 years ago now, but it's such a slow process, and the spiritual part has just recently come the last 2 years or so, and really just the last year. But about 2 years ago, I was introduced to the concept of the higher self, and then I was guided through meditation by a person who does this sort of thing, a professional, to connect with my higher self. And I was pleasantly surprised that it was incredibly easy for me to connect. And what I saw, I said, I like to connect with my higher self. Show me my higher self. And what I saw was about 4 or 5 feet elevated above me was this woman who was looking down and smiling at me and like crouching forward and reaching out to me with her hand. And just this loving, compassionate, beautiful smile on her face. And she was dressed like Joan of Arc going into battle. I will never forget that, because then I think it was before that, maybe after. I can't remember now which came first, the chicken or the egg, but I had done a beautiful, beautiful trip to the south of France with a bunch of ladies. It was a very spiritual trip, a very enlightening trip for me. And if you know anything about France, every single church there has a Joan of Arc statue, and I've always felt a very strong connection to her. And in fact, I would almost always be found gazing at the Joan of Arc statue in particular. When we did a lot of churches. It was a spiritual tour, not a religious tour, but it was the south of France has all these hidden gems, these small towns, these small villages that have all these churches that are now considered heretical. So if you're interested at all in looking all that up, but like just amazing, amazing churches that literally have, hundreds of years old paintings that show things that the church now will tell you are not real, and so are not true, or not part of our history. And so many of them also on the same sites, even in the same buildings many times, as former pagan temples. And they just kind of adopted, the stories and that kind of thing, and changed them to their narrative. So anyway, I was on this trip, and they could always find me. It was 39 other women, and then 4 men, 3 men and a young man, a boy, that were on the trip, and they could always find me at the Joan of Arc statue. And so it wasn't long into the trip. It was a 2-week-long trip, which it was life-changing. It was amazing. Not long into the trip, they started to refer to me as Joni for Joan of Arc. And then even the phrase, "it's not a party until Joni arrives," started. And so it was really fun. And I loved having this connection to her, and having these things said, because it just confirmed my connection to her. And so I came home with this huge Joni, Joni, Joni. And I think it was after that trip. I'm trying to remember. The trip was actually almost 3 years ago now, which is crazy. crazy, 2.5 years ago. And so I think it was after that that when I connected to my higher self, she was no kidding Joan of Arc. I mean, she was dressed just like Joan of Arc going into battle, like many of the statues that I saw. And I wasn't focusing on that in any way. It just that's how my higher self came to me. And so I actually, for since then, have referred to my higher self as Joni. I actually call her Joni. And until, well, I'm trying to get out of that, but I will tell you why. But anyway, so when I was first introduced to the concept, I was led to connect to her, and I saw this amazing, energy, this figure, this warrior woman, crowd high up, like 4 or 5 feet up, and leaning down, and reaching for me, I couldn't reach her. I couldn't. I couldn't like hear, I didn't have any clairaudience then with her, but I couldn't really do anything else but look at her. And she was reaching for me, and I couldn't reach her. And so as time went on, and I started to do a lot of my healing and learned more tools on how to, heal all these things that we're healing in order to ascend, I would connect with her and, consciously connect with her. And over time, she appeared to get lower and lower, when really it was me who was raising higher and higher, right? I was raising my vibration, and so I was getting closer and closer to being at the same level as Joni, as my higher self. And so eventually I was able to take her hand, and she pulled me up. I was like a foot. We were like a foot off of each other. I was a foot below, and she pulled me up, and I was able to step up to her level. Now, at that point, I kept falling back down, which is fine. But then eventually I got to the point where when I would connect with her, we were already on the same level. But she would be like 15, sometimes 20 feet in the distance, and I'd have to walk, in my mind's eye. I would have to get myself to her. So it was still like I'd raised the platform, but I still was creating this distance between us, making her this thing that was outside of me. And so I'm going to look at my notes here because I wanted to hit everything that I did in the other video. And so, so I had to walk to her. And then over time after that, then she would be closer and closer and closer. And then I got to the point where I would connect with her, and I'd be standing right there with her. And she was always standing over this. It was like a pensieve, or, Harry Potter fans will know what that is, or like a crystal ball or something. It was something, a glowing light thing that she was always standing over, and I would connect, and I don't really know what it was. It doesn't matter. But I would connect with her, and then I would be standing there right next to her. And so that occurred, probably, it was sometime in 2018, I will tell you that. And so I got to that point, and then it was all about, if you remember in the energy, everybody was talking about it's time to integrate. It's time to fully bring in our higher selves and our souls into our heart space. At least that's where I was on my journey, and that's what I was going through. And everything that I was watching and seeing was talking about the same thing, because that's what I was needing to see. Synchronicity, right? We get everything we need in perfect timing. And so I worked on that. I set my intention, and I worked on that, on integrating my higher self, on stepping into my higher self. And so I would literally do these visualizations where I'd connect with her, she'd be right there, and I would have her step into me, which I realize now it needed to be, well, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, as long as we are joining, as long as we're becoming one, which we are. That disconnection is an illusion, right? It's a ego created fear-based illusion, because it will allow us to have our full power, and that's terrifying, right? We've been raised to believe generations now that power is bad, and so that's what is keeping us from that. And so so I worked on fully integrating, and then at one point I knew, when I connected to her, she was no longer here, she was here. And so I had brought her into my heart space along with my soul. They're always together, my higher self and my soul that appears to me. My soul, FYI, fun fact about me, my soul is very masculine. It's a very masculine energy. If you can't tell, I'm not the most feminine woman on the planet. I'm an Amazon. I'm 5'10" in my bare feet. I'm, I've always been a very strong energy, strong personality, masculine. And so my soul is very masculine. The very first time I connected with it, I knew right away it was literally a male. a male energy, which was fine. It was actually very comforting to me for some reason. So, and my soul always appears to me as this big, beautiful lion. And so I get this big, royal, powerful king of the jungle kind of energy when I connect with my soul. And so my higher self and my soul were in my heart space, which was great. Well, and then came a bunch of just huge, huge purges. And what I have come to realize now, and I needed to be able to describe it. I needed to be able to understand what was going on because human. One of our human failings is to need to understand everything and figure everything out. And sometimes it's okay. Sometimes, I tried to allow, and now it has come to me. And now that I understand what is happening, it just has kind of eased a lot of my anxiety about it. And so then I would connect with either one or both at the same time. They were here. Then they were always here. There was no more, oh, Joni's here face to face and I can talk to her. She's here. And so then it becomes soul is, and of course we get not really sidetracked or derailed, but we get along this path of a big intention. We get a lot of little things that come up and some big things, some big purges, some big healings, things that we feel like kind of take us off the track, but really it's all they're all on the path. Okay, there's no side roads. It's all, you're on the path and these things are coming, onto your path and you have to deal with them. You have to confront them. And so I had been going through the last couple of weeks, and I think a lot of people can resonate with this, can relate to this, is I'd been feeling kind of not in the desert. I've done a video on talking about being in the desert where we're between breakthroughs. I felt like I was not necessarily in the desert, but just like disconnected. I felt very disconnected. I felt like I would try to connect to my higher self and my soul, and I felt like I couldn't even get my vibration high enough to connect. And then I realized just the other day that the reason that I was having trouble connecting is because there is no conscious connecting anymore. It's not necessary. What has happened is my higher self has started to fill this body, and we have this need to describe it as this separate thing when really it never was. I have stepped into my higher self and I am my higher self. Now, we always want this, oh, well, why? We step over the threshold and our wings spread out of our backs and we can fly and we're superheroes. It has not seemed to happen that way, has it? And so, and I just didn't think it was anything good. Whatever was going on, I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I feel disconnected. I feel very low vibe. Even though there was a voice in my head telling me, even though you feel low vibe, the lowest vibe you can get to now is still higher than the highest vibe I could get to like a year ago or even 6 months ago. And so, even though I knew that, it still didn't feel good. It was like, oh, I just want to. And so I would, I am a Reiki practitioner, and so I was doing self healings, which you should do all the time anyway, but I was doing them kind of out of desperation in order to bring on a purge or something to push me through whatever was going on. And I was trying to, and it was a purge that was definitely coming, and there was resistance, as there always is, and it eventually just came, and I had no say in the matter, which is great. I'm all for that. I'm always telling the universe, if you need to kick me off the cliff, just do it, because at this point resistance is resistance sometimes, I don't want to say it eludes me, but resistance is our natural reaction to these things. And most of the time I'm not even aware that I'm resisting. Like in my head and my heart, I'm projecting this message that I'm ready. I'm ready. I don't know why I can't do this, but there is resistance that is foreign energy, past life baggage, whatever. And so I'm always telling the universe, just you've done it before. You've done it before. Pick me up and throw me off that cliff. Because I know that I will fly at that point. I know that. And so just the other day, when I realized that I had been trying to connect to this thing that was not me, when really she, Joni, I have become her. I have literally, because I felt different. I felt like my body was different. I felt like I've even been feeling like I'm getting acclimated to breathing this air. That's how I've been feeling the last couple weeks. Like every once in a while I'd get this need all of a sudden to take a deep breath, and it would feel like something new, like I'd never done it before. So it was very odd. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't like this feeling at all. And so when I realized that it's because I am my higher self now, embodying my soul. Now my soul is in my heart space. Now it's time to embody that. The higher self had to come first. What's happening is she is filling this physical body for the first time ever. For the first time ever. Okay, so she is growing and expanding, and she's starting to push. And I get this visualization of like putting on the human suit, right? She's got the energy. She's got her arms into my arms, and she's pushing into the fingers, into the fingertips, and down through the legs, into the toes, and up into, you know, every physical, every nook and cranny. And she's expanding into that, into all the energy bodies, but the physical body is the one that we're most aware of in this reality, right? So I was having all these new weird aches and pains and symptoms, and nothing serious, but it was like, why does that hurt now? I don't understand. I was getting like a little numbness on the tip of my nose, which was really weird, which is now subsided. It's not happening anymore. But I'm like, what is, like, I guess I'm just dying. I don't know. Like sometimes don't you just go, fine, fine. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's just do it, because we don't know what the hell's going on. And so as she is filling the space, guess what's happening? She's pushing out all this stuff that no longer needs to be there, because it's her space now. I have fully given it over to Joni, who is me, and I'll work on that. I'll get there, you know, as far as describing it still as a separate thing, because it's me. It's absolutely me. And it's you. You are your higher self. There's no separation. The separation is an illusion. It's a lie. Let that go. Tear through it. Like football players running through the paper. Run through it. And we'll be there. And so, you know, if you resonate with this, great. I just wanted to share, you know, what's been going on with me and the fact that I figured it out. And I was so relieved. And then I was like, okay, well, I guess now, because this is the very first time that I have stepped into my higher self and fully integrated that in this life, this physical body is brand new. You know, I've never really felt it before. And so not only am I filling the physical body with the highest version of myself in this reality that can exist in a physical body, really, but I'm feeling this physical body for the first time ever, really for the first time ever. And so it's getting to know how it feels. And sometimes I think that the aches and pains are really just me kind of going, ooh, how does that feel? Let's push on that a little bit and see how that, okay, that's how that feels. Let's not do that again. And so that kind of thing. And so the aches and pains kind of seem, they're very benign, you know, there's nothing serious going on, but it's like an experimenting with, okay, what's going to happen if I do this? And I'm just filling the human body. And so let's see, I don't want to miss anything. So she's literally pushing, I am literally now pushing things out. There's no stopping it. I am not even consciously controlling it anymore. I have, you know, given this body over to the highest version of myself, and that version is now filling me so that I can feel everything. And I'll be able to feel like, you know, I feel like, well, I'm not going to say that. So like I said, breathing, so I'm trying to, feeling, getting used to how this body feels. And so that has been my, the last 2 years. You know, and if you are kind of in that same place, I'd love to hear about it. I love to connect people who are very much in sync with where I'm at. There are a lot of us going through the same thing at relatively the same time, and that is wonderful, because you know, I know for me, if I knew that I was going through this whole thing all by myself, I would not be here. I would not have made it this far. So I would love to hear if anybody else is, you know, has experienced this, or maybe this has helped you if you've been feeling really weird in your body lately, and things feel weird, like breathing feels weird. Then maybe this is what's happening for you too. Tune in and see, and get rid of that concept of connecting to something that's not you as your higher self and as your soul. Even soul should be in the heart space. Higher self is filling, I am now in here filling this physical body for the first time. And so, and this is, remember that this is happening for us. This is happening in our favor. This is happening to help us. The universe is on our side. The universe wants us to succeed, wants us to ascend, wants us to have these amazing, blissful, joyful lives, wants us to have these beautiful, vibrantly healthy bodies. And that's what we're being pushed toward. And we can resist all we want. We're still going to get pushed toward it if that's what your soul chose in this incarnation. Okay. So it doesn't matter how much you resist, except that the more resistance you have, the harder it's going to be. Okay, and that's why we have been given all these tools, and that and that a lot of people have been giving the tools first, so that they can turn around and share. I couldn't have gotten through without the teachers that I have met to teach me the things that I know that are now, evolving and changing as well. But that happens. But at the time, these tools saved me and got me through what I needed to get through. And so, we have this beautiful energy work in whatever form. Reiki is just one of the many, names for it, but it really is just, moving energy around for our highest good. Okay? Releasing what we don't need in these energy bodies, and being sovereign and holding on to what we do need. So, so quantum leaps are happening, whether I want them to or not. I mean, it feels like we're only in February. February's almost done, but 2019 has already been the year of quantum leaps for me. And like I said, I haven't even consciously made any decisions to do it. It's just a long time ago I set the intention, I'm along for the ride, do whatever. And that doesn't mean that I haven't had resistance. I've had quite a bit. And I have needed to, use the tools, learn new tools sometimes to help heal that and get through that and move through that as quickly and effortlessly as possible, which for a lot of it was not quick or effortless at all, but that's okay. I mean, quick, we live in the illusion of linear time. So, when you're suffering, 5 seconds is not quick. So it's all relative, right? And so 2019 is the year of quantum leaps, at least for me. I think it's going to be for a lot of people. I feel it in the energy. I feel like a lot of people are and at this same place, or will be very soon, and then maybe we can share notes. But if you are resonating at all with this message, please just let me know in the comments. And again, if you're watching this on Higher Self, please go to the original video so that I actually see the comments. I don't have time to go back to find out all my videos and see if there are new comments, and I don't see them if they're on Higher Self. So, I don't get a notification for them. So please go to the original video and leave your comments there. And yeah, I mean, my message, I guess the message that I have for you at this point, if you're here, or if you're working through this or working through anything, don't think. Don't let your mental energy body take over during this process, because that is what creates resistance. That's what seats us in the resistance. It's what keeps us sitting in the chair of resistance, however you want to, whatever metaphor you want. It keeps us in the muck of resistance, in the in the quicksand. And so because we're trying to figure everything out, and we want to know what's happening, and we're trying to get out of it. And so don't think, just leap. And tell the universe, pick me up and throw me off the cliff if you need to, because sometimes we need to. Sometimes we need that to be done. And that's how my journey started. So, I mean, there was something going on for probably, well, not even quite a year, 6-8 months maybe, before I was thrown off the cliff, because I wasn't paying attention. And I refused to listen, because it was coming to me as life changes that I didn't want to make. So then you're thrown off the cliff and you don't have a choice. So just know that you're not the only one. If you feel like this has happened to you, being thrown off the cliff, it was, believe it or not, they threw us off the cliff with nothing but unconditional love and compassion and support. And, and it's nothing that we haven't agreed to on the soul level. They talk to our soul, and our soul's like, yes, do it. Do it. Pick them up, throw them off. So we agreed to all of it. So, and of course I can say that with a smile on my face now, because I'm in a good spot right now. And because I know to first waivers, we are through the worst of it. Thank God. We are very much through the worst of it. Second waivers, don't stress about that statement because you will have a much easier time than first waivers. That's the reason we signed up to be first waivers, to have the toughest time of it, because we are going to now turn around and pull you through. I promise. That's what we're here for. So, and if you need any support, if you're pulled to me at all, you can, I have my Facebook page, Parenting Through Ascension, as well. You can message me through there. I do Reiki. I do distance Reiki. I do card readings, energy readings. I do intuitive essential oil readings. I'm actually very good at that. I love that I can provide that for people. I'm I'm tuning into a lot of different things, but those are the things that I'm doing now. And you can just message me on Parenting Through Ascension on Facebook. This is the YouTube channel as well, but the Facebook page, same name. So message me through there if you feel pulled to ask for my guidance in any way. So Wendy Lou. I'm Wendy Lou, Parenting Through Ascension. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for subscribing. I really appreciate it. And just sharing my truth. That's all I want to do. And hopefully this helped in some way. Just one small, nugget of wisdom is all you need for that next step, right? Just one more breadcrumb to get us there. So one breadcrumb at a time. The universe left them, I promise. And they're not hidden, they're obvious. So we got this. We're in this together. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. Again, I love comments. I love, sharing your stories in the comments if it, it relates to this video at all. And so